And we're on. Hello and welcome to podcast episode 86 of Rope-A-Dope Boxing, where the two Daves are back for the second time this week to bring you the previews for the boxing weekend ahead. Before we crack on with our previews, as you can see there, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see a like button, you can see a subscribe button, you can see a share button. Just before you crack into this fantastic episode, as you always do, just give them a tap. Just like that. Just give them a tap there and a subscribe. Yeah, that one as well. Give that a tap and share it to your friends, your boxing pals, or your mum and dad, or your cousins, your cat and dog. I don't care. Just share it, right? Because when you like, when you subscribe, when you share, it makes the algorithms go round and round and round. And when people are looking for top quality boxing content, they come to Rope-A-Dope Boxing Podcast. And you're helping us and we're helping you by giving this great content. So yeah, just give it a click, guys. Much appreciated. We're all boxing brothers in the boxing world. Is that right, Dave, or is that right?
That's correct, mate.
That's correct. So yeah, I've got that bit out of the way. So I normally leave it to the end, but I thought I'd do it at the beginning. We was on Tuesday, and we normally have a little bit of a talk and a chin wag and a bit of banter before we start. So I think some of the masses want to know. You were speaking about broken noses, black eyes. You got starched by a 13-year-old. How are you feeling, brother?
I'm all right, mate. I never got the black eyes. I've just got bags under my eyes. For the people that actually view this, you can see I've got bags under my eyes anyway. I think it's hereditary. My dad's got it, so I think I've got that from him. But no, nose is a little bit tender, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. House walking around the house like he runs the show. So
you can't blame him. You can't blame him.
The rematch is going to have to happen because I can't have this. So yeah, I'm going to have to do a little bit of training myself. You know what I mean? Get in there, do a little bit, and show him who's boss because he's walking out the cock of the walk at the minute. My drainage issues are now over. I can have a pony in my toilet now, which is great. And so so things are looking up into. It's funny how things can change in a couple of days. I mean, on Tuesday, I had a busted nose. I couldn't have a pony. Now I can do both. My motor scooter is getting back into decent enough shape, and we're good to go, mate. So yeah, all positive over here, mate. All positive.
That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. And we've got some positive boxing to talk about as well in a bit. I went through last Tuesday's episode.
Yeah.
I've uploaded it and listened to it. And I like to, nobody's come back to me on it. It's just a minor mistake that I made ranting and raving. That was when I was talking about Boots Ennis. I was talking about Boots Ennis going up to 147, which I meant was 154. He's already at 147. And I said, Virgil Ortiz Jr. couldn't make 140. Well, if he tried to make 140,
he did.
So I did get the weights mixed up. So, yeah, my point was he didn't want to go to 154. He wanted to stay at 147. I thought I'd just cleared it up, ladies and gentlemen. For anybody that was watching thinking, he ain't fucking right, that he ain't no 147. But
I thought you was going to retract that he ducked Virgil Ortiz.
No. You said he ducked as well. Are you going to retract yours?
I can't be slating boxers on here because I need them for my Michael Hunted files.
Yes.
So I've got to play the game. So you said he ducked. I just nodded in agreement.
Correct. I don't know if he listens to this. I hope he does, but I doubt it. Just a couple more bits as well. We reviewed the February 22nd card, best card ever. We came to the conclusion. Some fantastic fights on there, should I say. But as I was watching and as I was thinking about things and bits and bats at work, I don't know if you noticed, Dave, there's a Riyadh season veteran, even though he's only been going just over a year. There's a veteran that's not on this card. Do you know who it is? For the first time, I think he's not actually on this card.
Mark Chamberlain.
Got it. He's had one loss and he's been fucking thrown to the side. I thought, where's Chamberlain? Uncle Turkey loves Chamberlain. He's had a bit of a bad match against Josh Padley. And all of a sudden, he's disappeared from socials. He disappeared from IFL TV and all that jazz. And he's disappeared from Uncle Turkey. Where's Mark Chamberlain?
We have to put that out there. The new section. Find Mark Chamberlain. But I know it's a cruel business, mate. Eddie Hearn's got form for certain things like this. I'm not saying they've got rid of him. He's
a Queensbury fighter, isn't he? He's a Queensbury fighter.
Oh, sorry, apologies. Yeah, apologies. But even Uncle Frank, they wouldn't have got rid of him. No. But he's putting his nut down, not getting involved in seeing us, and be all business when he comes back in the ring.
Yeah, I don't get it wrong. I don't want them to add him just for the sake of adding him. I think 7 fights is plenty to get stuck into. But yeah, just thought, where's Mark Chamberlain? He's one of Turkey's favourites. But I think he might need that Josh Padley fight again, Dave. So he
needs a rematch. Absolutely needs to go and right that wrong. No point waiting. Go straight back in for the rematch. Put that to bed and move on.
Yeah, and make Josh Padley the A side as well, so he gets weighed in. So I want to see Mark Chamberlain back, to be fair. And also, just quickly, we didn't mention it on Tuesday's show, mate. It's been all over the internet, all over Twitter and socials and whatnot. The Usyk versus Fury promo. What do you reckon of that, eh?
Oh, mate, time? That's the best one yet. Yeah, I loved the whole of that. That was brilliant. That was really, really good. That's that was up there with Joseph Parker's calling out videos of the singing. They were brilliant. We'd done a bit of Ed Sheeran. I remember he was doing that for a little bit.
I think it's better than that one.
Oh, this trumps it all. This was the best promo I've ever seen. It was better than the geezer that done Lock, Stock and all that. Remember he was doing them.
Yeah, but, even though they were good. This one
they were good, but not like this. The whole thing was brilliant. I loved it, mate. Yeah, that was great. If you haven't watched that, people that follow us on there, go and watch that. It's brilliant.
Yeah, if you haven't, we'll put it on our social media pages on Twitter, so go and have a nosy at that. Did you see we'll talk about it later in our preview. Did you see the Manuel Charr and Kubrat Pulev promo? I think it was about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
It wasn't as good, I've got to admit.
They're trying on the budget, aren't they? Bless them. They're trying,
mate.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, that was our little chin wag. We will crack into our show now. Our normal segments. As you see there, ladies and gentlemen, for audio listeners, it says on the screen, De La Hoya Hunt update. Dave, over to you, brother.
Right, so there's plenty to go at. I've been tweeting him all week. I've been commenting on a few bits. Yes, he does turn his comments off for certain things, but I'll talk about the latest one. So obviously, in his last clapback Thursday, he went a little bit close to the mark by mentioning Sky Nicholson and Eddie Hearn. Now, everyone talks about it. It's a bit of a running joke, but he went in hard on that. And obviously, I commented on that. And now all of a sudden, his clapback Thursdays he got it removed today. So he's put out a statement upset. And I've commented on that. And although I haven't got anything from him, I've gained a follower out of it. And I've had loads of likes on the comment. So that's not bad. So in the instance for getting a follow from him, not quite yet, but there's interaction with his fans. There's bits going on, but yes, there's no clapback Thursday from him this week, which is a shame because I do love them. But I think that because Eddie Hearn's been very quiet on it as well. I think there might be some sort of legal action off the back of it.
Yeah.
And Joe, I said last week,
slanderous, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to repeat what Oscar said? Do you want to repeat what Oscar said? Or?
Not on here, no. I haven't got the money. But everyone has a running joke about him, like, Sky Nicholson and him. Whether it's true or not, no one will know. But he went hard with the paint on that one, and I
think people do know. But
yeah, well, but again, he went a little bit close to the mark on it. I said last week that he doesn't post them on Twitter because he does it on Instagram, and then people take from Instagram and post it on Twitter, but it's not on his Golden Boy Twitters or anything like that. I don't have Instagram.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, which
is why I wouldn't know where it's coming from. But anyway, he put one up. Apparently, he done one from what I can see from his statement, and he put it out and it got removed straight away. So I think there's legal action coming from that, which is a shame, really, because his clapback's Thursday. Do you know what? Out of all of them he's done, that was probably his best one, but he went a little bit OTT.
Yeah, because it was brutal. That's why you love it. That's why everyone loves it.
Yeah, I do. But it gives me something to jump on the back of. Go on, Oscar, and G him up and all that, and try and get a follow. But yeah, so there's plenty. I always go back to Bacoli because I'm very disappointed. But there's so much to interact with De La Hoya, so this could rumble on into the new year. And just chatting and just always comment on bits and pieces. So I'm right up for this because he gives me content to go on. So I comment on everything he's done. I'm gaining followers out of his followers, and so yeah, it's positive. But yeah, as an update, there is no follow as of yet, but it is early days.
Yeah, I mentioned Bacoli there. I've noticed he's still doing the old Congolese tweets. So you've done well to park him for the moment, mate, because you can't understand what he's saying.
No, I can't bounce off of a language I don't understand. I am talented in words and speaking. Even I can't get anything from him.
It's not over till the fat man sings, mate.
Listen, if he puts something out that I can react to, I'll throw a little something at him. But we'll see.
Yeah.
So my next segment is David McDonald and the dongs. I'm going to go dark here, people. This is my thing. Right. Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach has now been rescheduled for March 1st at the Barclays Center in New York. Before you jump in, Mr. Graham, Gervonta Davis frustrates me, man. You know, like the opponent, it's always something with announcing opponents and stuff like that. He's had things labelled. I think he's a great fighter, fantastic fighter. But I do feel like his matchmaking is holding his career back a little bit. You know, like he doesn't go through and want to fight the current champions and try and unify. It doesn't seem to be his desire. So as much as I love watching him box and I think he's fantastic, his career, and I said this about Harlem Eubank, his sort of opponents in his career sort of frustrate me at times. Yes, he's been in with the Santos and, you know, these type of guys. And when he iced, what's his name?
Frank Martin, Leo Santa Cruz.
Leo Santa Cruz, sorry, yes. I mean, there's been some fantastic wins on his resume. But I always want, you know, I think he's probably the best of the lot. But it just frustrates me. And Lamont, the guy he's fighting there, and that's been rescheduled a couple of times. It just frustrates me, mate. I don't know your thoughts on it.
Yeah, similar, mate. He's probably the face or one of the faces, isn't he, of American boxing. He's so entertaining. He's exciting. You're just waiting for him to detonate.
Yeah.
It looks like his career, the opponents that he's picking or his management are picking or the involvement PBC have, they're picking them very carefully. Not so much to make him look good, but fights that haven't got as much jeopardy. Don't get it wrong, the Leo Santa Cruz fight was a good fight, had jeopardy, and of course it did. I don't know if Leo Santa Cruz was very active back then, and the Frank Martin one, I think that was earlier on in the year, wasn't it? That had a jeopardy as well. We didn't really know how good Frank Martin was. He was coming off a crest of a wave. But do you know what with Tank, mate? I get what you're saying, but because we're used to him fighting once a year, I kind of like, he's like a meh. When he's in the ring, I'm setting my alarm. I'm ready to go. I want to watch Tank, but it's not like he's trying to get fights. When we're on here on about Yanni Beck and certain other fighters that are trolling and plugging away and looking for fights and can't get the fights, that frustrates me more than a guy that's happy to fight once a year. I mean, do you remember Gary Russell Jr. when he had that WBC belt? He just fought mandatory. He just fought mandatories. That was it. No interest in voluntaries, no interest in making any more money. Got his businesses outside of boxing, a bit like Tank has. And I fight when I want to fight. And it's once a year. I don't agree with that. As a champion, I think you should be active fighting minimum about 3 times a year, if not more. But that's the way it is. But I understand your pain, mate. And this should be a good fight. You know, Lamont Roach is a champion. He's not really been tested. I don't think, from what I've seen, he's got enough to beat Tank. But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
It's a fight, but let's just wait until it happens, you know. So they've had press conferences and things like that, so it does look like it's going ahead, and it looks a decent card, to be fair, from PBC next year, mate. So yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah, he's a frustrating one, but a great fighter all the same. I'm sure you've seen this. So Kamar Merton came in at 15.8 pounds overweight for his 7th pro fight against Brian Mercado. The fight was scheduled. The Merton weighed 148 for a fight that was signed at 133. Thoughts on that? I've seen bits and pieces where he's saying he didn't think it was going to happen, and you know, so I mean, what do you make of that? I mean, 15 pounds over on a weigh-in.
I don't get that. So he thinks it's not going to happen. So he must have been in camp. He must have. He's obviously gone to the weigh-in knowing it's going to happen. But what was that? What's that? 15 pounds? 16 pounds he's missed it by.
15 pounds over. 15.8.
Mate, that's not missing weight. I can't be fucking arsed.
You know what? The only thing I can think with him, you see, like his sort of fights are scheduled whilst he's got other fights going on. Now, there's no reason to balloon up to anyway, because his fights have been like every couple of months, so he should always be in camp or, you know, at fighting weight. Like it, then. But so he's used that sort of excuse. But I don't even know if the fight actually went ahead, because when I put this news down,
no.
Yeah.
You can't. And then obviously after rehydration as well, it's not a title fight, and there's no IBF or anything like that. So the guy would probably been weighing like 2 or 3 fucking stone over. Yeah, it didn't happen. It can't happen. But I'm not going to give an excuse. I probably am to an extent rather than a reason. He's still, I think, what's Motor now? 18, 19. He's still only learn from this. Don't do it again. Slap on the wrist. You know, luckily it wasn't a major fight where nobody sort of lost X amount of purses and bits and bats like that. But yeah, learn from it. Don't do it again. You're a super talent. Stay fit, stay ready, as most boxers, professional boxers do. So
Yeah, my only concern with that is that, you know, we've seen fighters do it over the years. There's high-profile fighters, you know, ballooning up and wait in between fights. He's very young to be starting that sort of habit. And, you know, and is that habit a hard one to get out of, living the life? It all makes you wonder, is he living the life to balloon up to that? That's quite heavy compared to what your fighting weight is. That's a lot of fucking pounds to have to drop anyway, let alone for a fight.
Mate, I've just got off the sofa, that is. Let's see what I weigh.
Yeah, exactly. And for someone to have that sort of mentality at 18, 19, it gives you a little bit of a worry on their, you know, their desire to live the life is my only thing. He may go on and it never happen again. Like you said, learn from it. But it is a concern for me.
I agree, yeah.
Right. So Eddie's going around now signing Olympians. So again, we said we don't really know too much. I don't really know too much about this guy, but it's news anyway. So announced Terramona has signed a co-promotional deal with Eddie Hearn's Matchroom alongside Tasman Fighters and Spencer Brown's Gold Star to fight on DAZN moving forwards. The Australian heavyweight is a 4-0 as a pro and will return after Paris 24 on the 40 Olympics. And he's going to fight on the December 14th in Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
So,
this one I have seen, Dave.
Yeah?
This one I have seen. He fought against Jalilov in the Olympics. People saying he was robbed against Jalilov. Get the fuck. Jalilov's the future of the sport. This guy is as well. Don't get it wrong. But Jalilov he's up there with Moses Atuma to me to be nailed on world champion. But yeah, I have seen him, mate. Decent, big heavyweight, can punch, can move. Olympian. Yeah. Excited to see him. Really excited. Is it like I say, is it another market that Eddie's trying to sort of dip his toe into? You know, it's the Australian market. Yeah, it's a big continent, isn't it? You know, it's a big world. Even though there's a lot of shit comes out of Eddie's mouth, not just Eddie, but a lot of promoters, they're businessmen, they're salesmen, they're there to make money. Do you know what I mean? So as I always say, I work for that fighter. So I work for them, then I get paid. So I totally get it. Why not? I've got nothing against Eddie Hearn going to all different continents, trying to make as much money as he can. Fair play to him. Fair play. Don't agree with everything he says sometimes, but I totally get it. You know, because he's there to promote a fighter and he's going to stand by that. He's going to stand by that fighter and things like that. But yeah, if he cracks the Australian market, mate, jumps in there, makes a few quid. Remember, all these fights, they're on DAZN. It's not like we can see a fight we don't even know it's going to happen, so we can't see it. Then we have to get the Boxing News or the Ring magazine to have a look at the results. He's organising fights out there in co-pros with Tasman Boxing, and we get to see it. So I'm getting up like on a Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, having me lunch, and I'm there watching live boxing like we do with Nikita Zoo and all these type of guys. Yeah. We're getting it through DAZN and things like that. So I love it. I think it's really good. But the heavyweight you're referring to, mate, he looks decent. He does look decent. As I say, he lost to Jalilov in the Olympics, and there's no shame in that because Jalilov's one of the stars touted for big things. Hopefully in 2025 going forward, mate. So yeah, decent, mate, decent.
Oh, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. I love a bit of news that you'll probably roll your eyes at, but anyway, it's news never the same.
WBC?
Sorry?
WBC?
No, British Border Control.
Just as bad.
Yeah. Robert Smith has confirmed that Conor Benn can now apply for a license to fight in the UK again. He's obviously had his suspension lifted, so I can't see any reason why he can't box once he's been granted a license. We haven't received any application from me yet. When we receive it, we'll consider it in a normal manner. I can't see any reason why it wouldn't be approved. He's back.
Yeah, he's back. Where do we go with this? It looks like it's over. They've sort of lost interest. They've sort of been beaten. The only thing, mate, you know, hopefully Conor Benn now can carry on with his career. But all us boxing fans and casuals as well that knows what's happened. Don't get me wrong. Conor Benn is what's happened to him. His name's more people know about Conor Benn now because of his misdemeanors. But what we'll never know, unless the document is released, is how did that clomiphene get in his system? He didn't fail one drug test, he failed two, and we're still none the wiser. Did he cheat? Was substance contaminated? Was it eggs? Tongue in cheek? We'll never know. But we can go down a rabbit hole with this, mate. At the end of the day, he's free to fight. He can appeal for this license. It looks like he's going to get it. And it's only a matter of time now before he either fights Barrios, which is looking quite likely, or Chris Eubank Jr., which has been touted about for the last 2 years. When that initial first ban was found out, that substance in his body. So, yeah, we're none the wiser, but it's time to move on now, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, he gets a couple of good wins. He comes world champ, beats Barrios, comes world champion, fights Eubank, gets a good few names. You know, it'll always be hanging over him, but you know, I feel like he can get the love of the fans again, like with some really good performances. So yeah, fans are fickle.
You look at the Twitter. You look at the Twitter comments now since it's happened. Everything's about eggs, isn't it? Yeah. Every comment's about eggs. So, like you say, some sort of documentation comes out, this release to say, right, clomiphene got in his body via X, Y, and Z substance, or he has cheated. We're never going to know. So that egg thing is always going to be thrown at him. He's always going to be branded a drug cheat, whether he cheated or not. So I kind of feel sorry for him in a way. But if he only knows himself. If he did cheat, then he deserves everything he gets. But as I say, we're never going to know now. So let's kind of put it behind us and let's crack on and see Conor Benn going on in the future to win world titles and being on the big stage like Eddie believes he should be, you know?
Yeah, like I say, it's the same with Canelo. He always gets the meat labelled at him.
Yeah, you're right. The thing is, Canelo did have a legit ban, if you want to, even though it was a 6 months ban in between fights, which is literally fuck all, a bit like Ryan Garcia. At least he did serve a ban of such. Conor Benn hasn't really. He had those 2 fights in the States as well. Still really, I know it's 2 fights in 2 years, but he's still fighting. So let's move on. I want to positive. I don't want to talk about PEDs.
And last but not least, tonight is announced Adam Azim will face Sergei Lipinets in a super lightweight clash on Feb 1st at Wembley in London. I might go to that. I'll see what the tickets are saying. So Adam Azim's out next with another credible opponent. Looks like they're pushing him in the right direction. The opponents are good. There's no complaint here. I know we talk about Harlem Eubank, but you can't complain about Adam Azim opponents. You can't say that about Harlem. So no, fair play. It's another step up for me. He was excellent in his last fight. Looking forward to seeing how he deals with Lipinets.
Well, I've got receipts on here to say, and people may laugh, I think Adam Azim now beats Rolly Ramirez. I think Rolly's is rubbish. I think he's good enough to beat him. So when you've got Lipinets at the back end of his career, and obviously the O'Hara Davis fight, how dominant he was, I didn't expect that because O'Hara Davis, yes, he got knocked out by old man Barroso, but he was one of the most improved British boxers since he was let go from Eddie. He lost to Jack Catchell, then he went through X, Y, and Z fighters, built his career back up again, and he looked shit up. Lipinets has come off a very close win over Robbie Davis Jr., who's trying to resurrect his career over in the States, fighting on pro box and things like that. But this is great. This is a great opponent. This is great matchmaking. This is a great name to have on your CV. And I think Ben Shalom and Boxer and Team Azim have picked Lipinets at the right time. This is the right time to get him. It's a great coup. It'd be a great scalp as well to have that on your CV because Lipinets is a former world champion. He was a great fighter. So I know he's coming in the back end, but it's, don't get it wrong. I'm sort of waxing lyrical here. Lipinets might think I'm not having this young buck come and beat me and sort of show me up. I'll show him that I'm not finished just yet, like I showed Robbie Davis Jr. It should be a good fight, but I think Adam Azim will blow him away eventually, mate. I really do. I'm really high.
It's the quick hands, mate. I think you're catching Lipinets, like you said. He's coming to the back end of his career. He's coming in with someone who's fast, and that I'll never since Amir sort of Khan, I've not seen hand speed like that. Yeah. So anyway, someone of his someone at the back end of his career is not going to be able to deal with that. So I'm with you. I'm expecting Azim to put on another good show. And that is it for tonight with David McDonald and the Dons.
Thank you, kind sir. Right, Prediction League from last week. I was on 349. Mr. Holland was on 377 with a 28-point gap. Let's quickly go through the fights that we reviewed last week. Sonny versus Galao. Dave went for Sonny on points, so nothing for him there. I went for Galao by KO in the 9th. He got it done in the 6th, so I pick up 3 points there. Vong versus Gwyn. We both went for Vong by KO. Got it done on points, so a point apiece there. And Conor Walker versus Lewis Ritson. We both went for Conor Walker by KO. Again, got it done on points, so a point apiece there. So at the end of last weekend, Dave, you got 2 points. I got 5 points. Taken, again, not a lot compared to the last 2 weeks. Going into this weekend's action, should I say. Get your words out, mate. I'm on 354. Mr. Holland is on 379. I've pulled it back yet again. I'm only on 25 points, but I've got the victory again this week. But I need a big weekend this weekend, mate. I need a big weekend to catch up. There's some really good fights, world title fights we're going to speak about now, preview and predict. I think it's about literally the way we do our scoring. I think it's about literally 30 points up for grabs here, Dave.
Oh, you could claw it completely back then if I make shit of this.
Yeah, I could do, but it's highly unlikely, isn't it?
It is, because I'm great at this prediction thing.
As I said, guys, there's a lot of good action this weekend. We've got 4 world title fights, and we've got a British and European title fight included in that as well. But let's start on Saturday night. Well, I say on Saturday night. They're all on Saturday night. I mean, we'll start over in the States at the Footprint Center, Phoenix, Arizona. We're getting Emmanuel Navarrete, El Vaquero. He defends his WBO super featherweight title yet again against Oscar Valdez in a rematch. But this fight, the first fight, me and Dave, we did our first ever episode. It's on the same night, I think, against Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr.
Yeah.
And we had a bit of a review on that. Navarrete that night, mate, he beat Valdez for the belt. And now it's time for Valdez to try and get it back. The first fight was really, really good. They both came forward. They both looked to trade. They both looked for the KO. It was a bit of a Mexican war. When it was announced, it was a bit of a super fight, really, because Valdez is a name. Navarrete was winning title after title, so active. But on that particular night, it was Navarrete sort of forced the pressure more. He was the stronger. Valdez starts to fade. But all in all, it's a really good fight. And we've said before about Valdez, haven't we? How much we like watching him. He's a really good starter. He makes some good angles. He's a technically very good boxer. But that gas tank now, we start to drain a little bit, and he gets caught with silly shots. And he's had wins since. Don't get me wrong, he's had wins since, and he's got himself back into contention. So people wondering, why is this fight happen again? What's the reason for it? Is it a top-ranked thing? To be fair, I think the way the sanctioning body's done their job properly, Oscar Valdez is the interim champion, so he should be fighting Navarrete. Navarrete was allowed to go up to lightweight. He didn't perform very well, did he, against Dennis Baranchik? Now he's come back to I shouldn't say his natural weight, but he's come back down to super featherweight, and he's defending his title yet again. So yeah, mate, Oscar Valdez versus Emmanuel Navarrete, part 2. We enjoyed the first one. What are we thinking about number 2, bruv?
Yeah, like I say, for me, it's another super fight. It really, really is. Like their first fight was a very good fight. Like you said there, it was one of the ones we had first predicted, and we've obviously come a long way since then. It was a great fight. I'm with you, Navarrete. I was a little bit disappointed in his last performance. It wasn't great, and he probably feels the same, which is why he's gone back down in weight.
It was a split decision. Sorry, mate, it was a split decision, but it wasn't the Navarrete we're used to seeing, was it?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't at all. It wasn't at all. And could this be a factor in this fight? Possibly. You don't know if that, him going up there is beginning of the end. I'm not trying to rule out his career at all. I really ain't. But are we looking at factors where he's starting to slow down himself, or was it just the weight was just too much for him? Putting on the extra pounds, he couldn't move the way he wanted to move. He's obviously a lot more comfortable and lighter on his feet in the weight below, which is why this fight's now come up. I'm with you with Valdez. Valdez has been a great fighter over the years. He really has. He's put on an unbelievable show. I do feel that he starts the fight early, but he doesn't have the stamina towards the back end of the fight. And I feel that Navarrete does at this moment in time. If he starts to slow down during this fight, it could be a lot closer than we think. But I think the difference between him will be the engine. And like you said there, Valdez takes silly shots when he's tired, and that happens to the best of fighters. So I think this is going to be the same sort of fight as it was in the first fight, at least for the first half of the fight, where they both try and take center of the ring. Lots of punches. And lots of movement, and try and push each other back. But I feel in the championship rounds is where Navarrete will come into it, and I feel that he will be, his engine will be the difference in this fight. I feel it's going to be close in the first half. I just feel Navarrete just going to have a little bit too much for him in the later rounds. Yeah. I don't see a stoppage. I've got to be honest.
Never been stopped.
No, I don't see a stoppage, but I do see a points win, probably like a 116, 112. I would go down that sort of route. So I'm going to go for Navarrete on points. But again, and I do this on here, base it on last performance, and I'm not overly impressed with his last performance. But again, it's at a high weight. He dipped his toe. He tried it. Yeah. But, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. At least he hasn't been beaten up at that weight to realise that he should step down. He's got a close victory there, and he's come back down and thought, you know what, that's not for me. So yeah, I'm going to go for Navarrete on points.
Yeah, you're right, mate. I mean, with Navarrete, you know exactly what you're getting, don't you? High volume, comes forward, throws big hooks, throws a lovely uppercut. You know exactly what you're getting. Irrelevant of weights. When he fought Baranchik, as we said there, he was getting caught more than often. And obviously, he went to a split. It was close. He was landing. Baranchik was landing, but there was obviously factors in there. After the first fight, Oscar Valdez's face was a bit like Gavin Gwyn's last week, but probably worse.
Yeah.
It smashed up. How much success, especially down the back end, and the stretch Navarrete had over Valdez. And you're right, but when he starts to tire, his hands start to drop, his mouth starts to open, and he's very easy to hit. So just quickly, I know you've made your prediction, and I'm going the same way as you as well, mate. I believe Navarrete will win on points. I don't think even though he packs a punch, Valdez is tough as they come. He's been down, but he hasn't never been stopped. In his 33 or 34 fights that he's had.
Yeah.
The question I'm going to ask you, he's been in there once with Navarrete now. He knows what it's all about. He's Mexican brother. He knows he's coming for war. What changes do you think, or should he make to try and beat Navarrete? Does he go down the Baranchik route and think, right, I know that stamina and conditioning and all that does play a part. I know it 100%. But boxing-wise, does he try and box and move, but like Baranchik, or does he go in that Mexican sort of style that he can't get out of? Right, you want to trade, motherfucker? I'm going to trade.
Yeah.
I think his title back, Dave.
Yeah, I think he should try and pace the fight. Now we're expecting him to come out and have a fast start because that's what he does. But try in the earlier rounds. Try and box on the back foot. Make some shape. Don't drag yourself into a war. Don't throw needless punches, and try and go late in the fight, and and maybe get a second win and try and have a strong ending to the fight. I think that's the best way that he can win. If he goes and blows his gas tank in the first four rounds or whatnot, and then it just makes a fight a struggle, down the stretch. So I think he should try and pace himself over a fight. Come out, start the fight slow. Start the fight. So even if at a point where you may lose a couple of rounds, but try and have a really, really good ending. And I think that could be the way that he wins.
Yeah, I think the engine's key, mate.
Stamina and engine's the key. And pacing the fight for me. If he paces the fight well, he's got a good chance.
As I say, the first fight was brilliant, and I think it's going to deliver this time as well. It can't not. It's two Mexicans, Dave. You know what they're like.
Yeah, but again, do you know what happens with that? They get caught up in the Mexican war sort of thing. So
yeah, that's why
it goes out the window. They go centre of the ring and start letting leather fly. So the game plan of trying to pace yourself goes out the window because it's a Mexican fight.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Talking of Mexicans there, Rafael Espinoza versus Robeisy Ramirez. Again, part number 2 for the featherweight title. Mate, I don't know how Espinoza makes featherweight. Have you seen the size of the dude?
Yeah.
I saw a photograph today on Twitter. He was obviously, this is on the same card, ladies and gentlemen. He was having a fight with fellow Mexican Emmanuel Navarrete. And Navarrete ain't, even though he's a super featherweight and went up to lightweight, he's not short. He's quite a tall featherweight. It was like looking up at a Jolly Green Giant. He's massive. Yeah. I've watched, obviously, me and David watched Rafael Espinoza. Yeah. And he does look big, but he just looks mad. It reminds me of Fundora. How the fuck does that dude make weight? Yeah. Anyway, we're getting his fight yet again. Rafael Espinoza against Robeisy Ramirez, part 2 for the title, as I just said. It's around about this time last year, Dave, when they fought. I can't remember what other main event was on at the time, but this one went under the radar, and it was probably the best fight of the night. It's one of the fight of the year contenders. This fight had absolutely everything. This was the fight where I sort of comical made fun of, not made fun of Dave, but I kind of made a joke that he was pulling Mexicans out of his arse because nobody knew about Espinoza. Boxing fans didn't know about Espinoza unless you were based in Mexico and watched Mexican boxing. This guy hadn't boxed out of Mexico. I think he had 18. He was 18-0 with X amount of knockouts. We thought he's a tough test coming over against a Cuban, Olympian Cuban that's won more medals than we had off dinners. Give him a test, but Robeisy will come through it. Nah, man. Robeisy did floor him. Espinoza floored him. The output from both guys, the skill set, it was just a thoroughly entertaining 12-round fight. Absolutely brilliant. If you want to go and watch a boxing fight to get the taste for it, to get the love for it, to see what you're getting, don't go to Misfits. Don't go to any of these other silly shows. Go and have a nosy at this. This was absolutely brilliant. And again, like we just said, Dave, about Navarrete and Oscar Valdez, this one has to deliver again because of the styles. More Espinoza than Ramirez, because I think Ramirez is a bit more slick, a bit more cuter. He got drawn into the Espinoza style of fighting. Again, another Mexican that comes forward, throws like fuck, massive output, hits hard. Mate, again, I'm buzzing. Out of all the fights we're previewing this weekend, this is the one that gets me hard because the first one was so good. I think the second one's going to be so good as well. Will we get a stoppage? Will the Mexican arse pull in? Well, is this guy the real deal? Is this guy the real deal, mate? Because he's a world champion. He's fought since. He put his opponent down 3 or 4 times. He proves he belongs at the top table. I mean, the other champions are Nick Ball and Angio Leo, another guy that we got quite excited about, Ray Vargas. This guy could be the boogeyman of the division. And when I say boogeyman, I mean, this guy could go in with any of those champions and fucking do a job on them. We'll see where he is on Saturday night, Dave. But yeah, you can tell by the way I'm talking, I can't wait for this. Really excited for Espinoza versus Robson Ramirez too, mate.
Yeah, for me, this is the fight of the night, mate. Out of all rematches that we wanted to have to happen, this was the one. This was the one that we've been looking forward to. Again, it's a super close fight. It's a 50-50 fight. I mean, I didn't really know too much about him at the time.
Oh, we did.
And we pulled him. I pulled him out my arse, and we spoke about him more or less every episode. But he's tall, he's rangy, he can bang, and he's up against someone with super skills in Robeisy Ramirez. You know, like so.
Ramirez is a southpaw as well. He's a southpaw, and Espinoza dealt with him. Yeah,
exactly. And their styles gel to make an unbelievable fight. You know, they could go on to have like a Marquez Pacquiao sort of situation where they have 5 fights, and it can go either. You know, it could be one of them. Not that they will, but you know, they could because the fans would call for these type of fights to be just made again and made again and made again. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, mate. I've been talking to a couple of people on Twitter on this yesterday. I asked them if it was repeat and revenge. A few people come back to me and said revenge. So there's a lot of people out there thinking Robeisy will step up. He's been in with him once.
Yeah,
knows what he's going in against now. Won't make the same mistakes twice and get the victory, which then could call for a third fight. But I'm expecting. We said this with Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark, round 13. I'm expecting round 13 with this fight, mate, to come straight out and both go for it again. I'm expecting knockdowns again from both men, people being rocked, to-in and throw-in, and a really close fight and a really good fight. And I pulled him out my arse the last time. He's now my guy, and so I'm going for repeat. And I'm going for Espinoza to win on points. Yeah.
I've jumped on the bandwagon as well. That's why I just made the claim there about could he beat the rest of those champions because he's such an exciting, dangerous fighter. Let's be honest, he wasn't supposed to beat Ramirez. Ramirez is an Olympic gold medalist, a multiple-time world champion, a very skilled, highly skilled, talented southpaw. This wasn't supposed to happen, but Robson Ramirez got drawn in to Espinoza's fight. That's why it was so exciting. I'm on the bandwagon, mate, exactly the same as you. I think Espinoza is something about him that I like, whether it's just his height, he's got that reach, he's got high output, he's a very exciting fighter. So I'm going the same way, but I'm going to go because I'm so excited for this. I think there's going to be a stoppage. I'm going to go Espinoza to stop Robeisy Ramirez. I'm not sure. Has Ramirez ever been stopped? I'm not sure if he has. Has he been stopped?
I'm not sure.
I haven't got boxer in front of me. Either way, whether he has or he hasn't, I think Espinoza is going to steal the weekend. I think he's going to put him down. I think he's going to stop him. I think he's going to make a big statement on Saturday night, and I'm going to go for round number. I think it's going to be late, so I'm going to go round 10 for Dave's arse pulling Mexican to do the job. Yeah. Just on that, Dave, against those other champions I mentioned, Nick Ball, Angelo Leo, and Ray Vargas. Do you think he could beat them now? Do you think he's as good or better? What do you think?
I don't want to go against our boy Nick Ball because he's a
stylistically.
Like I say, the attributes. But we've said this about a lot of fighters up against Nick Ball. He's so short, and these guys are so tall that they box him at range. But it's easier said than done because he gets under the jab, he slips under, and he's a fucking wrecking machine. So all the positives go towards a Espinoza beating Nick Ball, just looking at him just on physique alone. But, it's a different thing. But yes, to answer your question, I think he would beat Angelo Leo, although Angelo Leo just come off on a fantastic win himself to become world champion. But I think, we could be talking something completely different on Monday, but I think that Espinoza is the real deal. I really, really do. For me, he's got a lot. Now, again, we didn't know about him, but we know about him now. He's been out since. He put that guy away. With relative ease, and and again, I think this will be a Robeisy Ramirez is Robeisy. How do you say his name?
Robeisy Ramirez.
Yeah, Robeisy Ramirez. Sorry, I've gone. But
Masses know you're talking about.
Robeisy Ramirez is a fantastic fight as well, and I think that this is going to be a close fight. I really do. Yeah. But I just think Espinoza is gonna win on points.
Can't wait, mate. This is a decent card, to be fair. Just quickly before we move on to our next card, Giovanni Santillan, Dave. He's on here. Get back to winning ways after he suffered his first defeat against Brian Norman Jr. back in May.
He's another one I pulled out of his arse.
Yeah, you did. You did. Yeah. He's was that Norman Jr. you pulled out your ass, wasn't it?
No, I pulled out Santillan, didn't I?
Oh, against Alexis Rocha. Yes, you did. Yeah, you did, mate. Yeah, Mexican American. Yeah, you did. Well done.
Yeah.
It started from somewhere. It's going to carry on. It could carry on this weekend as well. Richard Torres Jr. as well. He's on here. He's pretty active. He takes on a big Mexican heavyweight. You don't see many heavyweights that are Mexican in Isaac Gutierrez. Just quickly, Dave, with Richard Torres Jr., he's 11-0 now, former Olympian. Again, lost to Jalalov in the 2020 Olympics. Yeah. So that guy's a serious dude, Jalalov. But he lost to him. He was knocked out by him, but he's turned over as a pro. As I said, he's 11-0 now, 10 knockouts. If he gets to win on Saturday, how long do you think it is before we see him go in with a Johnny Fisher or a Moses Atuma? Or do you think Bob Arum and Top Rank are just going to pad his record out until he gets to 20 or 25-0? You know, I like Richard Torres Jr. He's got something about him as well. He's quite easy to hit, but he's exciting. Yeah. He's front-footed. He's a very small heavyweight. He's got that tash that he has. That sort of, you know, people look at him, they call him like a German porn star and things like that. But we need to see if he's going to keep fighting bums and tin cans. And we're on this side of the pond, but we are boxing fans, so we try and take in everything. It might get a bit boring. Richard Torres Jr. might turn into what we said about Moses Atuma. Now, Moses Atuma's level of opponent is stepping up, which is great. But if he's going to keep fighting tin cans and bums and Latvian Vim men, he's the sort of guy that you think, right, I'm going to put the kettle on because you know exactly what's going to happen. So, yeah, my original question, mate, how long do you think it is before Top Rank's going to let him off the leash?
With Bob Arum, you just never know. Sometimes he keeps it too long and they end up leaving him because they're not getting the fights that they want. But yeah, for me, he throws very wide hooks. He's wide open. For me, he's getting a lot of knockouts and against B-level opponents, which I don't know is good for him because sometimes you need a test, sometimes you need a chin check because when you know, especially at heavyweight, you end up getting it when you don't and not knowing what to do, and it's lights out. But I feel he should have already been stepped up, but he hasn't quite yet. But yeah, hopefully he'll start getting into some fighting with some names, really. I don't know what the pool of names are like in America, but because they all seem to be over here, don't they?
No, I'd put him in with Dave. I know I've jumped over to Moses Atuma and Johnny Fisher this side of the pond. It might be a bit more difficult without Turkey, but I don't want to keep going down the Turkey route. Why not give him a couple more early on in 2025? Hopefully he comes through this fight on Saturday night. What about Charles Martin to start him off?
Yeah. And that's a perfect opponent. That's a perfect opponent. It's a decent enough man, former world champion. I could see him getting a good win against him as well. I don't see anything from Charles Martin that makes me think otherwise. Yeah, Charles Martin would be a good one. Yeah, it really would.
Yeah. Good luck to all those fighters we've just mentioned. So we'll jump over to Puerto Rico now for some strange reason. I've got no idea why this is in Puerto Rico, Dave. Liam Paro is obviously Australian and Richardson Hitchins is American. And Eddie Hearn, I know Eddie Hearn is all around the world, a British matchroom, whatever. I don't understand why it's in Puerto Rico. I've never seen anything come out of why it's there. But it is there. It's for Paro's IBF super lightweight belt. Paro's 25-0, 15 KOs. He's an unbeaten southpaw against Richardson Hitchins. He's also unbeaten in 18. He's got the 7 KOs and he's an orthodox fighter. So southpaw versus orthodox straight away. We saw back in June, I believe, Liam Paro went and faced the boogeyman of this division in Subriel Mateus. Now, nobody put their hands up to face Mateus. Nobody wanted anything to do with him. He was on a crest of a wave, just knocking out dudes left, right, and centre. Liam Paro said, I'll do it. I'll go with him. It's a world title at stake there. I'll be the B-side, and I'll show you what I can do. And that night, Dave, he literally went in and showed what he could do. Don't get me wrong, Mateus had success, but he wasn't used to this. He wasn't used to what Liam Paro brought. Liam Paro sort of old-manned him, roughed him up. You know, he used the dark arts, but he also boxed as well and was clever enough and savvy enough to land shots, scoring shots, get out the way and hold. It wasn't the most attractive of fights. Liam Paro definitely won that fight. And we spoke about Mateus, about his first defeat, being this boogeyman, sparking everyone. Didn't have it his own way against Liam Paro that night. And Liam Paro now is on the everybody's tongues about what he can go and do in this division next, because he is a good boxer. He is an exciting boxer. He does things, like I said, the dark arts and things like that, which is part of his game. But this is a really interesting fight. Yeah. Because Richardson Hitchins, as we spoke about on here before, yes, he fought Gustavo Lemos last time out, and he got dragged into Lemos's fight. On about Robeisy Ramirez getting dragged into Espinoza's fight.
Yeah.
Richardson Hitchins, guys, you can't land on the motherfucker. He is so fast feet, fast hands. He's constantly on the back foot, but he catches you on the way in. His hands are so quick. Some people call it boring, and I get it, but me and Dave love the sweet science. You know, you've got to cut the ring off of him. You've got to land, but while he's on the back foot, he's still landing, he's still scoring, he's still winning. But he got drawn into Lemos's fight, and there's a case there that Lemos won. Not for me. Richardson Hitchins done plenty to win that fight, even though it's close and it should have been. And obviously, Keyshawn Davis just recently went in and showed the blueprint on how to beat Lemos, fight him toe-to-toe, and he knocked him out cold. Yeah. We haven't got that fight now. We've got Liam Paro versus Richardson Hitchins, two completely different styles, Dave. What are you thinking with this? How do you see this one going, man?
I think that Richardson Hitchins needs to make sure that he doesn't get drawn into that same kind of fight that he had with Lemos. I think if he gets into that, I think he 100% loses. I think he needs to go back to what he's good at. His counter punching, plenty of movement, plenty of lateral movement, drawing him onto a shot, because Paro will come forward and he will be susceptible to that. If he tries to be brave, tries to stand center of the ring, he will lose. It sort of depends on what sort of Richardson Hitchins is going to turn up and what sort of game plan he's got on it, because Paro will stick it on him. And for Paro needs to do the dark arts. He's up against a young, slick guy. He needs to throw a little elbow in, a little bit with a head, like rough him up, make him uncomfortable.
Yeah, the dark arts. He's done that against Mateus.
Make him uncomfortable, old man him. Get him frustrated, make him complain to the ref about certain things. Little low blow every now and again. He has to do that to try and frustrate and annoy Hitchins into making mistakes. So it makes for a really good fight, because we don't know what's going to happen. So this is a tough one to call for me here. I've seen a bit of Hitchins in their face-offs this week. He's giving it some smack talk. Yeah, and he's really trying to get under Paro's skin. And Paro seems to be just batting it off like, okay, chump, we'll see. So it's made for a really, really good fight. I'm looking forward to this one. If it comes down to boxing ability and skills, you've got to lean towards Hitchins. But I saw flaws in him in his last fight, only for the fact that he was trying to be too brave. So for me, if he doesn't fall into any of them sort of antics, he can win this fight quite comfortably. But I'm to and fro, and I'm still to and fro in this one.
I think you've nailed it, mate. I think you nailed it just there when you're at your opening sentence. If he stays switched on, switched on and doesn't get drawn into Paro's fight, people call it running, people call it boring. So what? You've got to cut the ring and land on him. If it's a boring fight for some people, and it's down to Paro to cut the ring. And I'll keep repeating myself, but it's as simple as that. If he stays switched on for those 12 rounds, for those 36 minutes, and counting punches off the back foot, he's winning the fight. It's down to Paro to make the adjustments, not Richardson Hitchins. But as you just said, when he got drawn in against Lemos, it was much closer. And I think Liam Paro, being the champion that he is, and made a statement, if you like, against Super Mateus, will beat Richardson Hitchins. And I've also seen the face-off. And I saw the one in the studio as well, Dave, with Chris Mannix. And there's something I picked up on Liam Paro. I probably could say in double figures, Liam Paro kept saying about stop running, meet me in the center of the ring. So Liam Paro knows what he's got to do. And this is why I keep saying he's going to have to cut the ring off, because Hitchins is going to go on the back foot. It's for a world title. This ain't no eliminate a bullshit fucking gold regular nonsense belt. This is for the world title. So I believe Richardson Hitchins is going to be switched on. And I'll go first then, mate, because I've been to and froing. I think if he does stay on, I believe he'll stay on. He's very slick, very fast. I think he's got enough. I think Hitchins does it on points. I can see it. I can see it. It's so tough. Do you know what? I'm going to go against you. I can see exactly what you're saying, and I've sort of said it in my opening statement. But I also feel that sometimes having the belt gives you an extra lift, and I've said this in it many a time before. I feel that Paro maybe could cut off the ring. That was a good win against Mateus. That was a good win against Mateus. And Mateus was, like you said, was no mug. No one wanted to fight him. He went and done that. And so I think that
that Paro's going to win. I'm going to go for Paro win. I'm going to go for Paro win on points.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were going to go for the KO then. Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. I just, yeah. I mean, again, this one out of them all, I could go either way, but I just think, that it's his first defence. I think that gives him a lift. I think he just might have a little bit too much.
Interesting. Looking forward to that. That's on DAZN, ladies and gentlemen, over in Puerto Rico. And the previous card I mentioned, I didn't say, that's on Sky Sports Action for any fans in the UK. Jumping over to the UK now, also on Saturday night, Wembley Arena, to be frank. I say to be frank, it's an actual frank card. It's another Magnificent 7 card. I say Magnificent 7, Dave. There's 10 fights on here. But the seven main ones. This is obviously headlined by British middleweight champ Brad Pauls. He defends against Denzel Bentley for the British title and for the vacant European title, the proper one, the blue one, the EBU, which was obviously vacated by Hamza Shiraz when he beat Tyler Denny. Now, both these guys have fought against Nathan Heaney. Denzel Bentley was absolutely, we'll keep using that word, they've bamboozled that night. And to be fair, I was sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for him to unload, to do something. He was rubbish, and he admits it was a poor performance from him. He lost to Janibek, but he actually made a go of the Janibek fight, the best at 160. So he's been at world level. He knows what it's all about. Had a bad night. He's come back, and he's had a couple of knockouts in the second round. He looks back to where he should be. Denzel Bentley. Brad Pauls, again, fought against Nathan Heaney. Was unlucky the first time, mate. Got a draw. Most people thought he won. I certainly thought he won. Frank obviously made him run it back again. And he made sure that it didn't go to the judges' scorecards by stopping Nathan Heaney in the last round. And I literally, on that, jumped on the Brad Pauls train because of where he's come from in Cornwall, fighting on small hall shows. Nobody knew nothing about him. He's worked his fucking nuts off, and he's now the British champion. So we've got a British champion with a vacant European belt, Dave. From a domestic point of view, there's no better fight, is there? And when you said about Paro and Hitchins at the side, all the fights this weekend, this is the one I'm still undecided on. Brad Pauls versus Denzel Bentley. What are you thinking, dude? Yeah,
it's the same as the fight we've just spoken about. I'm the same on this one. Denzel Bentley looked very good in his last fight. He really, really did. You know, but he stopped. Yeah, he has, and he looks like he's back. This is the right fight to make at this stage. Everyone's been calling for it. It's now done on Uncle Frank's Magnificent 7. Pauls again. He's now the champion. Again, he looked very good against Nathan Heaney. We reviewed that on here. We thought maybe
he wasn't supposed to win, Dave. He wasn't supposed to beat Nathan Heaney.
We thought he'd be bamboozled as well, but he wasn't, and it was a great performance. Yeah, it was a great performance. This is a really close fight. This is a pick 'em fight for me. Based on form, they both got, both could win, but we've got to pick a winner. And it's really difficult. It's really difficult. Do you know what? I'm gonna go for Pauls. Ooh. I think Brad Pauls is going to win on points. But I can see this being another Valdez sort of Navarrete situation where they're both going at it. There could be a knockdown each here. That's how I feel about this fight. I think this is going to be. We spoke about. There's a lot of fights here that could be the fight of the weekend, but this is definitely one of them. For me, they're both on form. It's the right time to make this fight, and for me, I think Pauls is just going to nick it.
Yeah, Brad Pauls was the first guy to stop Nathan Heaney as well. The new key bomber, as he calls himself.
Yeah.
As I say, I was so impressed with him because what I'd seen previous didn't suggest that he was that good. Don't get me wrong, Nathan Heaney's a good British level fighter, and that's probably his. But what is Brad Pauls seeing? If he wins on Saturday night, he's European champion, and that opens doors, doesn't it? And I think what I've heard on social media, whatnot, the winner of this could be in line for a world title shot. I'm not sure with which sanctioning body it is, but there's to be a world title shot there. I'm a big fan of Denzel Bentley. I do like Denzel, and I was disappointed in that Nathan Heaney fight. I've got to admit, I went back to the Janibek fight. How much I love that guy. And you go back and have a look at Janibek's other fights. He was coasting, he was cruising, and Denzel Bentley, a penny dropped second half of the fight, and he probably gave Janibek his hardest fight ever. So he's been there, he's done it, he's worn the T-shirt, he's come back, he's had a few wins, another setback. Now he's rebuilding again. He looks like a killer in there. Don't get me wrong, Brad Pauls is better than his last two opponents in Danny Dingham, and I can't remember the other guy.
That's it,
I love both of these guys, but because this is a weird way to choose a winner, mate. Because I was a Denzel Bentley fan first, I'm sticking with Denzel.
Yeah,
And I'm going to go Denzel Bentley to knock out Brad Pauls in round number 5.
Ooh, that's a massive.
Where that came from, but
Yeah,
I do like Denzel.
That's a massive statement. It is. Joe, what this fight and this one and the one before is on fine margins, mate. It's a difficult one to. It's a really, really difficult. And that's the fights you want. These are close fights. It could go either way. You can make a case for both of them. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, mate. Really, I'm looking forward to that one.
I just want your thoughts on a couple of others on this card. Obviously, that's the main event. Lawrence Okoli, mate, he's making his Queensbury debut and his debut at heavyweight. I haven't got his opponent written down. It should be a gimme. What you thinking about Okoli going to heavyweight? Because he's obviously been too big for cruiserweight. He's had to look down on his opponents. Had stepped in at Bridgerweight, won that title against a Polish guy that nobody knows or nobody can pronounce his name. It basically was rubbish. And now he's going up to heavyweight where he's the smaller guy. I mean, is it the right move for Okoli? So with a new trainer and Joe Gallagher, looks a bit more front-footed. Hopefully the holding stops. So are you hoping for good things from Lawrence Okoli? Now he's at Queensbury and now he's up at heavyweight, mate. I
am hoping for good things because it's been well known that I have not been the biggest fan of him, the way he boxes and stuff. But I don't, this Bridgerweight thing's a difficult one for anyone to get on with. There's not enough people in it, so he couldn't campaign at that weight, and he's probably too heavy to go to cruiser. So it's the natural thing to do. Do I think he can cope with the big names in there? Probably not. But it'll be fun while it lasts. When it comes to his opponent, again, I don't know the name of the opponent and whatnot, but he's being put in there just to test, have a little gimme, a bit of a tester. And I expect him to spank the guy within 2 rounds. It's going to be one of them type of fights. Where but I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure he has the power to make a dent in some of these guys. I just don't know if he can take the powers. Chris Billam-Smith iced him.
True. That's true, yeah.
He's going in with bigger punches now. Yeah, listen, he'll be matched well enough where he'll be around for a little while. But I think the minute he takes a step in with someone, with some jeopardy, he could be unstuck. But listen, there'll be a few fights before that comes around, I'm sure.
Hughie Fury next for him, yeah?
Yeah.
It's going to happen, isn't it? It's going to happen.
Yeah. Oh God. If it does, like say I called it years ago.
Yeah, it could end up being a fight of the year contender because they've both changed styles. And I'm not saying tongue in cheek; they literally have. They're both more front footed from what we've seen.
Well, Hughie Fury definitely has, and I said that the last time we fought. He's a different Hughie now, so it's a bit more exciting when I labelled the fight originally.
Yeah. Also on this card, we've got the Noakes brothers. Sam Noakes is defending his British and lightweight belts. It's British and Commonwealth lightweight belts to say against Ryan Walsh. Ryan Walsh has never been stopped. He's lost 4 times though, so that should be interesting. His brother Sean, should I say, is also doing the same thing with his English title. You've got Royston Barney-Smith on here, and so we've got a good. I know we could have previewed and reviewed this one as well, but it's a decent comeback fight for David Adelaide, man. He's in against Solomon Dakers for the British heavyweight title. How do you see this one going, mate? If David Adelaide doesn't beat Solomon Dakers here, I don't know which way back it is for him because he was a favourite going in against Fabio Wardley and he got knocked out and he's going in against somebody. I think that Dakers might be technically a little bit better than him, but Adelaide, from what we've seen pre-Fabio Wardley, is a bit of a killer. So I'm expecting Adelaide to go in there and make a statement and say, right, I do belong in British and European and fringe world level. That was just a mistake against Wardley. I'm bouncing back. This is quite an exciting fight, actually. I don't really rate Dakers that much, but I think it's a bit more knowledge. His ring IQ is a little bit more savvy, I think, than Adelaide. So, yeah, again, 2 different kind of styles. So Dakers doesn't come across as a huge puncher to me, Dave.
No. Again, he could be, he could be a hard night's work, but let's say a dark arts, but using the boxing skills and being elusive and being awkward, and being maybe frustrate Adelaide, but. I'm with you. This is a bit of a crossroads for me for Adelaide. Yes, listen, there's no shame in losing to Fabio Wardley because what he's gone on to do. But for me, he needs to come out and make a bit of a statement here. Because if he loses here, I mean, who else do you put him in with? I don't know if there's another rebuild in him. I don't know where he goes. So I'm expecting better things from Adelaide. Listen, one I wouldn't even say bad performance, just him with a better man, but one loss, doesn't define. But if he loses today, because again, I don't know where he's going to go. So I think he's going to come out and make a bit of a statement. So I think he'll get the stoppage here.
Yeah, Oh, it should be a good fight, mate. It should be a good fight.
Yeah.
So, although it should be a good fight on the Uncle Frank's Magnificent Seven show. I think it's one of his last ones. He's coming to the end of his contract, isn't he, with TNT Sports? I think he's got the Chisora and Otto Wallin fight. I think that may be his last. So, yeah, looking forward to that one on Saturday night as well. Now, let's go. Let's rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. Forget Usyk 2 and Tyson Fury 2 in a couple of weeks. Forget Dubois versus Parker. Yes, they are for belts. But as you can see there, and then for audio listeners, what I've written on the screen there in the banners is Charr versus Pulev for the real, yes, the real heavyweight title in Bulgaria, live on DAZN. Mate, DAZN pick up everything. This is not fucking DAZN. Fair play to it, man. It's literally the home of boxing now. They pick up every fight. For boxing fans, that is an absolute dream because we not normally have to search or we can't see it. We've got looking for streams in Russian and all that kind of jazz. They're just picking up everything, and they've picked this one up as well, mate. 40-year-old Manuel Charr takes on 43-year-old Kubrat Pulev, a.k.a. the Cobra, for the WBA heavyweight title. Now, I'm laughing and joking, taking the piss to an extent. I'm doing that on purpose because I don't know why they've dragged this fucking belt out again, Dave. So what happened, ladies and gentlemen? We've had Daniel Dubois take on Alexander Usyk back last year. Or the year before, I can't remember which year it was, for Alexander Usyk's WBA title. Now, when the regular title and the full title meets, and whoever wins, that regular title sort of vanishes. It's finished. It's gone away. Don't want nothing else to do with that now. There's only one belt. No. What have the WBA done? They said, hang on a minute. Manuel Charr apparently put in a claim or a legal dispute about it. He was stripped because he couldn't get into the United States on a visa. He couldn't make the fight with Trevor Bryan at the time. So Trevor Bryan, was upgraded to regular champion. So he went in with Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois knocked Trevor Bryan out and became the regular champion. And now Uncle Frank said the regular belt was a legit belt. He was a full world champion. And as we spoke about Anthony Joshua against Daniel Dubois when they fought, Michael Buffer claimed that that Daniel Dubois was a two-time world champion, the IBF heavyweight champion and the WBA regular heavyweight champion, which does mean it's a legit belt. But the WBA have pulled it back out. They've said, right, Charles, right, do you know what? He was stripped. He couldn't make the fight. We're going to take it back out of retirement and we're going to give it to Charr. Do you know what? We're not going to tell him to take mandatories and things like that. He's 40 now. Let him do what he's got to do. Every now and again, within the last 2 years, we'll call him mandatory. And he's got it. He's facing Kubrat Pulev, who's 43. So they're both 83 years old combined. Pulev's a little bit more active than Charr. I think Charr's fought for at least 2 years, but they'll take a nice 3% out of that as they're a business. But fucking hell, Dave. I mean, Manuel Charr versus Kubrat Pulev. I keep laughing and joking about him. I keep laughing and joking more about the belts, not about those guys. Really, but what's all this about?
I don't know how you can take it. Like, we are laughing at it because you can't take it seriously, mate. You can't. We can't have two fucking world champions in the same fucking organisation, mate. It's a joke, and everyone's sort of laughing at this, and it's a shame, really, because you know Pulev was a brilliant fighter years ago, years gone by. Char's always been a bit of a name, like you know. It's like a farce. It's almost like a fucking Misfits world title. Mate, is. That's how it's being treated.
Mate, when we're getting our long-term pals on the show on the Usyk and Fury fight week, we're going to do our predictions to it. But it's more going to be about them. They're casual fans, so they're jumping on with me and Dave, and they're going to have their say how they see the fight going. Now, if me and Dave start talking about Manuel Charr and regular belts as a legit world title belt, and of course they're going to get confused as fuck, aren't they?
No, they would, yeah.
But because it says heavyweight champion and it's been deemed as a world championship fight. Yeah, it's laughable. But sorry to take you off, mate. You're right. What you're saying?
No, you're all right, mate. No, like I say, I was just saying it's almost like it's been turned into like a Misfits sort of world title. It's no one takes it seriously. The only sort of people that fight for it are people that are probably over the hill. Yeah, I know Danny Dubois was using it as a bit of an angle, but it's another one of them. Like, oh god, Manuel Charr's more famous now for making videos with funny little towns and
he is. Yeah,
Pussy War and all that.
Calling out Fury.
And Pulev's over the hill, been over the hill for a number of years. It's very difficult to call this fight, but I will anyway because it's on here. I'm going to go for Charr, Manuel Charr, by knockout in round 4.
He's gone straight in there. I've got their records written down there. So Charles,
Yeah, go on, pull him up.
Charles, 34-4. He's had 20 knockouts. He's been stopped 3 times. The guys that stopped him is Marius Bradis, which is a cruiserweight, Alexander Povetkin, and Vitaly Klitschko. Kubrat Pulev's 31-3 with 14 KOs. He's been stopped twice, and those were against AJ and Vladimir Klitschko. So they've kind of got similar records, and they've been knocked out by sort of decent names. So back in the day, they were okay fighters. I think.
They were.
Go on.
No, I'm saying they were.
But
I don't know. They were decent enough names. You know, you'd put them in with your Maris Wax of the world, and them sort of guys. You know, they were like fringe sort of world level. They would give you rounds. They were decent enough name for an opponent coming through, and they've been around the block. But for these now to be fighting for a so-called world title, it's mad. Like, it's mad because they're not getting a legit anywhere near a legit world title fight. So it just makes a farce of the whole thing.
But they should be, because the regular belt is the next one in line to the full belt. So that's why we've got to get rid of this bullshit. We don't need it. We don't know. Just on that quickly before I make my prediction. Did you see Uncle Turkey's releasing the Ring magazine belt? I want to get that. Got to get it. Got hold of copy.
Yeah, I'm going to get that. Definitely going to get that.
He's doing it in the right direction. Get rid of this bullshit and let's stick with the Ring magazine. However, let's get back to the fight. I'll tell you a good thing about these guys, mate. They've got something in similar, very, very similar. They both beat Vladimir Johnson. They both got that.
Everyone's fucking beating him.
Oh, yeah. Look, joking aside now, Manuel Charr, I don't think he's fought in 2 years, mate. For whatever reason, I don't know. Maybe the reason I gave there, they've given back that belt and he fights when he wants to. Pulev's 43. So he's had a few more fights since. I think it's in that 2 year gap. I think he's had about two or three more fights than Manuel Charr is. Manuel Charr has, should I say. So, again, joking aside, maybe he's a little bit fresher. It's in Bulgaria, so it's in Pulev's backyard, which is strange, seeing as Manuel Charr's the champion. The Arab Prince, he called himself. I don't know whether he's based in Kuwait or Dubai or Germany. I don't know. But I'm going to go against you. I think Pulev's a little bit more tougher, a bit more fresher, tongue-in-cheek. And I'm going to go for Pulev on points.
Perfect.
And the new. And he'll be up against Alexander Usyk next year.
For all the marbles.
All the marbles. Yeah. Just quickly, I better refer to my phone now, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen. So that's at the end of our predictions for the weekend, guys. Some great fights in there to get stuck into, all on a Saturday night. So get your beers in, get your popcorns in, get your pizzas in, and enjoy everything that's going on. So there, non-boxing question of the week, the results, should I say. So Dave asked last week, ladies and gentlemen, is man flu worse than childbirth? Put it out on our Twitter. The masses have responded. 19% have said no. And a massive 81% have said yes. Dave, it was your question. The poor ladies. Paul, take it away. I didn't ask the question, guys. Dave did, because he said it was worse than man flu. He said it was worse than childbirth. So, 81% of people of the massive, Dave, have agreed with you. Do you think many women have voted on this? Or?
I didn't think they would anyway. Have you asked Becky?
I daren't ask Becky. No.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. No comment from you. That's a...
Oh, no, I stand by what I said. I felt fucking terrible last week, mate. So I own everything that I said there, mate. I absolutely do. Yeah, I'm with them. Yeah, and I'll go down swinging with that one.
Yeah. Have we got one for this week? Let's quickly get off that.
I haven't. I haven't. No, I didn't actually have one put to it. Have you got one?
Not off the top of my head. So when we're back Monday, we'll have a new, fresh, non-boxing question of the week. Mate, as we normally say, anything else to add before we say our goodbyes and fuck off?
No, only the fact that the party season starts for me tomorrow. My first freebie, where I'm out on the piss in Soho, and then on Sunday I've got Arsenal women versus Aston Villa women.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, no, you say money, but it's not mine. I'm being taken. That's the only reason I'm going to be in Soho, mate, because I'm spending someone else's dough.
Blimey, yeah. What time's the Aston Villa kick off?
2 o'clock. 2 o'clock at the Emirates, yeah.
Yeah, you've got a bit of time to recover then, haven't you?
I know, yeah, exactly. I'll need it for Saturday to be a write-off. What about yourself? What are you doing?
Fuck all, mate. The girls, Freya's season's more or less ended, which is crazy. They've only got X amount of games left, so they're playing them in the new year. So they're trying to organise a friendly. So she's not playing. Weather depending, the lad will be playing. Established women haven't got a game until the weekend after against Birmingham in the County Cup. And I'm trying to lay off the drink for 2 weeks until I go to my daughter's football party so I can sort of indulge over Christmas. So mine is literally just sober and working and watching boxing, mate. And watching boxing, which I love to do. So yeah. I'll probably come near Monday and tell you I got pissed again, had a bottle of wine and a few cans of Lec, but hey ho, that's how it goes. So I've got to go to work now. I'm guessing you're going to have David Gower and unuse the shitter because it works now. And
that's it. Have a pony, mate. Have a pony.
Have a pony and trap. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Right, let's stop waffling, guys. That was the end of episode 86. Please like, share, and subscribe. As I said at the beginning, on YouTube, it's very, very important. We're a small independent boxing podcast that's just looking to grow like everybody else. Do the same on your audio feeds on Apple and Spotify, along with a 5-star review, as nothing else will do. So until Monday, have a great week, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe and enjoy the bloody boxing. David boy, peace out, mate.
Take care, mate. Have a good one.
Andrew, brother.